Hey guys, I'm T and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, I make trendy and fun crochet tutorials twice a week. If you haven't already, smash that like button, drop a comment below, and subscribe to join in on the fun. What you see here is a cozy classic sweater that can be worn a few ways. Pair it with some jeans and you've got a classic sweater fit for any occasion, or pull it down to some leggings and you've got a trendy tunic. Either way, no matter how you wear it, we've got you covered for most occasions. Speaking of, click the bell if you haven't already. It'll keep you covered when there's new upload ready, or when there's a shop discount posted to the community feed. Now it's time to get on with the video, so without further ado. For this project, any category 4 yarn will work, but I use 600 grams of yarn, or that's 1,000 yards if you're stateside. As for tools, a 5 and a 6.5 millimeter hook, scissors, stitch markers, and a tape measure. There is a written pattern down below. Use offer code TCDDIY for a discount off any $9.99 plus order. And watch to the end of the video to learn how to enter this week's giveaway. We're using 3 stitches for this project, and they will be as follows. Chain, slip stitch, single crochet, and half double crochet. This tutorial is written for a size small, but you can adjust it for your size, and we explain how to in the video, so let's get started. Getting this top started, we're first going to grab our category 4 yarn and make a slip knot. Next, we're going to grab our 5 millimeter hook and start off by making a chain the height that we want our collar to be. I want mine to be about 3 inches or 7 centimeters, so I'm going to make a chain of 13. Now that we have our chain, we're going to block off that last chain, do a chain up of 1, and then into that chain that we blocked off, or the second chain from our hook, we're going to insert with a slip stitch. So insert your hook, we're going to yarn over and pull through both loops on our hook. So we're going to pull through 1 and then pull through 2. Let's do the next one together. Insert your hook into that next chain, yarn over, and pull through 2. We're going to put 1 slip stitch into every chain. Now that we've slip stitched into every chain, at the end of every row, we're going to do a chain up of 1 and flip our work. And from here, we're going to go in with back loop slip stitches. So instead of going in through both loops like we normally do, we're going to be inserting our hook into the loop that's furthest away from us, yarn over, and pull through 2, so slip stitch like normal. Insert your hook into that next back loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. And a quick tip, make sure that you guys aren't pulling your slip stitch tight right after you pull through like that, because otherwise it can be really hard for the next row. But go ahead and put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. And now that we're at the end of our row, we're going to do a chain up of 1, flip our work just like before, and then continue to put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. From here, we're going to repeat this row until this can fit around our head. We are going to make sure that we have an even number of rows. I'll meet you guys back to let you guys know just how many rows I have. Alright, so I'm back with the length of my collar, and I have a total of 84 rows, and that is about 15.5 inches or 39 centimeters. From here, we are now going to seam the 2 sides together, and we're going to do that by doing outside loop slip stitches. So let's start that by sandwiching our 2 ends together. Since our hook is already through one end, we're going to insert our hook into the next corner stitch into the back panel. We're going to yarn over, pull through everything. From here, just do a chain up of 1 to secure that. And then into the panel that's closest to us, we're going to be inserting our hook into that front loop. So insert your hook into that front loop, and then into the next available stitch into the back panel. Insert your hook into that back loop, or the loop that's furthest away from us. So insert your hook into there. And from here, we're going to slip stitch, so yarn over and pull through everything on our hook. Let's do this again. Into the next available stitch into the front panel, insert your hook only into that front loop, and then into the next available stitch into the back panel, only insert your hook into that back loop. From there, we're going to yarn over and pull through everything on our hook. And then we're going to continue to do this until we don't have any more stitches left. Now that I have seamed all the way down my collar, I'm going to take out my 5mm hook and then insert my 6.5mm hook. And from here, we're going to put one single crochet into every side slip stitch row. So let's find the first few slip stitch rows together. My first side slip stitch row that I have is this divot right here. So I'm going to insert my hook into that top loop. We're going to have to find one because there's not going to be any rear loops for us to go into. And then we're going to single crochet. My next side slip stitch row is this raised one. So find that top loop, insert my hook, and then single crochet. Let's do one more set. This is my next side slip stitch row, which is this divot. Find that top loop and single crochet. And this is my next. This is this raised one. Find that top loop and single crochet. Make your way all the way around, making sure that you're putting one single crochet into every side slip stitch row. Slip stitch into that chain up of one space that we made, do a chain up of one and cut, and then we'll get started on our body. So I have single crocheted around the base of my collar. I did do a chain up of one and cut, and we're now going to insert our stitch markers in to separate the front and the back panel. Since we all should have ended on an even number of single crochets, from our tail end to the 2 middle stitches, I'm going to insert my 2 stitch markers, and the same thing at our tail end, making sure that we have the same amount of stitches on both sides. So if you guys are going in with my numbers, I inserted my stitch markers into the 42nd and 43rd stitch. And now that we have our collar all finished up, we can now set this aside and we can get started with our underarm. So with our 6.5mm hook, we're going to start off by making a chain that reaches from our underarm down to where we want the bottom of this top to be, keeping in mind that we will have a bottom band as well. So for me, I'm going to make a chain of 13 inches or 33 centimeters, and that's a chain of 40. Now that we have our chain, we're going to block off that last chain and do a chain up of 2. This counts as our turning chain. And from here, we're going to prepare for a half double crochet. Insert our hook into that chain that we blocked off, or the third chain from our hook, with a half double crochet. So insert your hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through 1. You should have 3 loops on our hook. From here, yarn over, pull through 3. Let's do the next one. So yarn over, insert your hook into that next chain, yarn over, pull through 1. 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through 3. We're going to put 1 half double crochet into every chain, leaving the last one so we can increase together. Alright, we are back and we have half double crocheted into every chain, leaving our last one. So we're now going to increase together, which is 2 half double crochets into the same stitch. So we're going to yarn over, insert our first half double crochet into that last chain. So yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 3, and then putting 1 more half double crochet into the same one. So yarn over, into that same stitch, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. And this is our increase of 2 half double crochets. And from here, we're going to automatically make a chain that reaches up to our shoulders. So I'm going to make a chain of 22, and that's about 6 inches or 15 centimeters. Now that we have our chain, we are going to block off that last chain and do a chain up of 1. This is our turning chain. And then into that chain that we blocked off, or the second chain from our hook, we're going to insert with a single crochet. So we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, pull through 1. You should have 2 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Let's do the next one. Insert your hook into that next chain, yarn over, pull through 1, 2 loops on our hook, so yarn over, and pull through 2. We're going to put 1 single crochet into every chain that we have, and I'll meet you guys back once we reach our body portion. Now that we have single crocheted down our chain and we are at the body portion, we are going to go in with back loop single crochets. So if you guys need to, go ahead and twist your work so that we can be working into these loops right here, and insert your hook into that first back loop. We're going to yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. Let's do the next one together. Insert your hook into that next back loop, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. Continue to put 1 back loop single crochet into every stitch, and I'll meet you guys back at the end of this row. Now that we're at the end of our back loop single crochet row, we're going to do a chain up of 2. This is our turning chain, flip our work, prepare for a back loop half double crochet. Insert your hook into that first back loop, yarn over, pull through. We should have 3 loops on our hook, just like a regular half double crochet. Yarn over, pull through all 3. Let's do the next one too. So yarn over, insert your hook into that next back loop, pull through 1, yarn over, and pull through 3. And continue to put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch. We're going to be alternating between a back loop half double crochet and a back loop single crochet row. So once you guys reach the end of this row, do a chain up of 1, flip your work, and then put 1 back loop single crochet into every row. We're going to keep doing that until we have a shoulder portion that we like, making sure that we meet right after our back loop half double crochet row so that we connect it into the collar together. But keep in mind that this portion is going to be where the width of our sweater comes from. So if you want yours a little bit baggier, add more rows, or if you guys want yours slimmer, do less. Either way, I will meet you guys back. All right, so I am back with my entire shoulder portion, and I now have a total of 9 rows. And from here, I'm ready to attach it into my collar. So what we're first going to do is insert our hook into our stitch that has our stitch marker in it. From here, we're going to yarn over and then pull through everything on our hook to attach the shoulder portion to the collar. And now that it's attached, we're going to work our way up to the next row. So we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch. So into the next stitch into our collar, we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, pull through everything. And then from here, we're going to work our way down the shoulder portion that we have. And since our next row in our sequence is a back loop single crochet row, we're all going to insert our hook into that first back loop with a single crochet. Let's do the next one again. Insert your hook into that next back loop and single crochet. We're going to put 1 back loop single crochet into every stitch. When we don't have any more stitches left, do a chain up of 2, flip our work, and then put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch. And then I'll meet you guys back to show you guys how to connect it into the base. We've put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch, making our way back up towards the collar. From here, we're going to slip stitch into the second stitch into the collar because this is a half double crochet. So we're going to count up 1, count up 2. We're going to slip stitch into that second stitch. So insert, yarn over, and pull through everything. And since we have been alternating between a back loop half double crochet and back loop single crochet row, we're going to work our way up to our next single crochet row together. For that, we're just going to slip stitch into that next stitch, yarn over, and pull through. Flip your work, and then put 1 back loop single crochet into every stitch. And just like before, when we make our way down to the end of this row, do a chain up of 2, flip our work, and put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch, connecting it into the base the same way that we just did. And we're going to keep alternating between those 2 rows until we hit our next stitch marker, and then I'll meet you guys back so we can do our other shoulder portion together. All right, so I am back and I have made my way across my chest. I've ended along the bottom, so from here I'm going to do the same shoulder portion that I started off with. So from the bottom, I'm going to do a chain out of 2, flip my work, and then just put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch. And then for my next row, do a chain out of 1, and then 1 back loop single crochet into every stitch. And a quick tip for some of you that may have ended like me, we should have 1 stitch left. So I'll meet you guys back just after this first back loop half double crochet row, just to show you guys what to do with this extra stitch. All right, now that we have half double crocheted all the way up, we're now going to do a decrease into the last half double crochet stitch, and also into the last stitch that we have a collar. And we're doing that to make sure that there won't be any gaps when seaming up our shoulders. So let's yarn over, insert our hook into that last back loop, into our normal stitches, yarn over, pull through, and then we're also going to insert our hook into that last stitch that we have, so the stitch that our stitch marker's in. Go ahead and insert your hook into there. Yarn over and pull through. Once we've pulled through, we should have 4 loops on our hook. So yarn over and pull through all 4 of those loops. This still counts as our first shoulder row. So do a chain up of 1, flip our work, and then put 1 back loop single crochet into every stitch. Maintain the rows of back loop half double crochets and back loop single crochets until we have the same amount of shoulder rows as this side, and then I'll meet you guys back. My shoulder rows are now finished, and from here I'm going to do the same underarm portion that we have over here. So we're going to start off by inserting our stitch marker into the same amount of stitches as chains as we made on this side. So if you guys went in with my numbers, I did a chain of 22. So on this side, I counted down 22 stitches, and then inserted my stitch marker. And then from here, since I ended along the bottom, I'm going to do a chain out of 2, flip my work, and then put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch, leaving the 2 stitches that I have right before my stitch marker. Now that we have 2 stitches right before our stitch marker, we're going to decrease together. So we're going to yarn over. We're going to insert our hook into that next back loop or the second to last stitch before our stitch marker. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull through 1. We should have 3 loops on our hook. And then we're also going to insert our hook into that next back loop, yarn over, pull through 1. You should have 4 loops on our hook. From here, we're going to yarn over and pull through all 4 of those loops, and that is our decrease. And since we only have 1 underarm row, we're going to do a chain up of 1 and cut. And now that our front panel is all finished, we're going to do the same thing that we just did here on the other side. So go ahead and start off by doing your underarm portion and go in with the same counts and same rows as our shoulder portion. I'll meet you guys back just to show you guys where to insert your hook one more time, and then everything else will be exactly the same. Alright, so I am back, and I have just finished up going in with my underarm and my shoulder portion for my back panel. It is exactly the same as the front panel, so I'm here just to remind you guys where to insert your hook. So taking a look at the back side of our collar that nothing's into, we're going to be inserting our hook into that next available stitch that our stitch marker's in. So go ahead and insert your hook into there, and then just like on the other side, we're going to yarn over, pull through everything, and then from here, we're going to turn our work just a little bit, slip stitch into that next available stitch, yarn over, pull through everything, and then repeat the same thing that we did for the front panel. So go ahead and get your rows of back loop single crochets and back loop half double crochets done. Do the same shoulder portion as the front panel and underarm, it's exactly the same, and then I will meet you guys back. Now that we have both of our front and our back panel finished, we're now going to seam the sides. So we're going to start off by inserting our hook into the corner stitch into the front panel and also into the corner stitch into the back panel. We're going to insert our yarn onto our hook, pull through both loops, and then do a chain up of 1 to secure. Now we're going to single crochet the 2 panels together. So let's insert our hook into the next available stitch into the front panel, and then also into the next available stitch into the back panel. Now that we have that, we're going to single crochet like normal. So we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Let's do this a couple more times. Into the next available stitch into the front panel, insert your hook. Into your next available stitch into the back panel, insert your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and let's just do one more. Into that next stitch, insert, into the back panel, insert your hook into that next stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to keep doing this all the way down until we don't have any more stitches left, and then do a chain up of 1 and cut. Alright, now that we have seamed our side, we're now going to seam our shoulder. And the first thing we're going to do is insert our hook into the stitches where the front panel is coming out of and where the back panel is coming out of. And we're doing that so that we don't have any gaps. So this is where my front panel is. I'm going to insert my hook into there. And this is where my back panel is. I'm going to insert my hook into there. Insert your yarn onto your hook. Pull through, do a chain up of 1. And from here, we're going to find our first side stitch. And then we're going to insert our hook. This is my first side stitch right here, a half double crochet. And then we're going to find the same stitch along the back. So this is mine, the same half double crochet. And then just like on the side, we're going to single crochet them. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Let's do this again. My next side row is this side single crochet row. So insert your hook into there, and then along the back panel, find that same stitch. So this is my side single crochet along the back. Insert your hook into there, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to continue to put 1 single crochet into every side row that we have. Once we reach the end, do a chain up of 1 and cut, and then do the same thing that we did here on the other side. All right, now that we have seamed our panels together on both sides, we're now ready to get started on our sleeve. So the first thing we're going to do is take our 6.5mm hook steel and then insert it into the stitch that's right next to our side seam. From there, we're going to insert our yarn onto our hook, pull through, and do a chain up of 1 just to secure. And then from here, we're going to be putting 1 single crochet into every side row that we have. I have just 1, so I'm going to insert my hook into this first side half double crochet row with 1 single crochet. And then from here, we have our shoulder stitches to go into. I'm going to be putting 1 single crochet into each of our shoulder stitches until I reach the shoulder seam. And then I'm going to insert my stitch marker in there, but I'll meet you guys back just to show you guys where to stop. I've just single crocheted up my shoulder portion. I am into the stitch right before my shoulder seam. So I'm going to insert my stitch marker into here. From here, I'm going to skip over my shoulder seam and insert my hook into the next stitch that I have. And then insert my stitch marker into there too. And we're putting those in so that we know where the middle stitches are when we go in with our sleeve. But from here, we're going to continue to put 1 single crochet into every stitch, 1 single crochet into every side row that we have, and then we're going to slip stitch into that chain up of 1 space, and then I'll meet you guys back. Now that I've single crocheted all the way around, from here we're going to try our piece on, and then we're going to make a chain the length that we want our sleeve to be. Now I want mine to be about 15 inches or 38 centimeters, so I'm going to make a chain of 50. Now that we have our chain, we're going to block off this last chain and do a chain up of 2. This is our turning chain. From here, we're going to prepare for a half double crochet, then insert our hook into that chain that we blocked off, or the third chain from our hook. So insert your hook into that chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3. Let's do the next one together. So yarn over, insert your hook into that next chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3. From here, we're going to put 1 half double crochet into every chain, leaving the last one because we're going to increase together. So we've just half double crocheted all the way down our chain until we had just 1 chain left, and we're going to increase together. So yarn over, insert your hook into that last chain, pull through. We should have 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through 3. Put 1 more into that last chain, so yarn over, insert your hook, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3. Now we need to connect our first row into the base. So what we're going to do is count up 2 stitches. So here's 1, and then here's 2. Insert your hook into that second stitch, and now our half double crochet row is closed. And just like our body, we're going to be doing a row of back loop single crochets as well. So for that, we're just going to slip stitch up 1 stitch, pretty much the same way that we're connecting it into the collar. We're going to flip our work, and then into the stitch that's nearest to the base, we're always going to do an increase. So let's do our back loop single crochet increase together. Insert your hook into that first back loop. Yarn over, pull through 2. And since this is our increase, we're going to put 1 more single crochet into that same stitch. So insert, pull through 2. From here, put 1 back loop single crochet into every stitch. When we make our way down to the end, do a chain up of 2, flip our work, and then put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch, remembering to increase into that last stitch and then connect it into the base the same way that we just did. We're going to keep alternating between a back loop half double crochet and back loop single crochet row with an increase into every row until we reach our first stitch marker that's right next to our shoulder seam, and then I'll meet you guys back. Alright, so I have made my way to my first stitch marker, doing increases into every row. Now from here, we're going to work our way down, doing the same thing, but instead of increases, we're going to do decreases. So for this first row on the other side of our shoulder seam, we're going to do the same row that we just finished up. So if you guys finished with a back loop single crochet row, your next row is going to be a back loop single crochet row. Or if you're like me, I finished with a half double crochet, so my next row is going to be a half double crochet. So basically just mirroring everything we did on this side on the other side. So once when we get here, I'm going to be slip stitching into my next 2 stitches because my last row was a half double crochet row. From here, I'm going to flip my work. And then, like I said, instead of doing an increase, we're going to do a decrease of 2. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into that first back loop, yarn over, pull through. Also insert my hook into that next back loop, yarn over, pull through. We should have 4 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through all 4. From here, I'm going to be putting 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch. If you guys need to do a decrease of 2 back loop single crochets, stay tuned for the next clip because I'll show you how to do that as well. Alright, now that I've worked my way back down with my back loop single crochets, I left the last 2 stitches, and we're going to do a decrease of 2 back loop single crochets. So what we're going to do is insert our hook into that first back loop, yarn over, pull through, and then into that last back loop, yarn over, pull through. We should have 3 loops on our hook. From here, we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. Now we're going to connect it into the base, so slip stitch into that next available stitch to close off that single crochet row just like before. And then from here, we're going to be slip stitching into the next 2 stitches to work our way up to our half double crochet row. So slip stitch up 1, and then slip stitch up 2. Flip your work, and then let's do one more decrease of 2 back loop half double crochets together. We're going to yarn over, insert our hook into that first back loop, yarn over, pull through, into that next back loop, yarn over, pull through. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 4 of those loops, and then put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch. Then just like the other side of the sleeve, alternate between a back loop single crochet row and a back loop half double crochet row while decreasing into the 2 stitches nearest to the base. We're going to keep doing that all the way down until we don't have any more stitches left, and then I'll meet you guys back so that we can seam it up together. So I've just made my way all the way around with all of my rows for my sleeve, and now we're going to seam it up. So the first thing we're going to want to do is make sure that our work is flipped wrong side out, meaning that the seam that we did for the body is faced out. Once we have that, we're going to do the same seam that we did for the body. So I'm going to insert my hook into the front panel's corner stitch, and then also into the back panel's corner stitch, which is my working yarn, and then I'm going to pull through. From here, do a chain up 1, and then let's single crochet the first 2 stitches together. So into the next stitch into the front panel, insert your hook. Into the next stitch into the back panel, insert your hook, and just like before, we're going to single crochet. So yarn over, pull through those 2 loops, yarn over, pull through these 2 loops. And we're going to continue to do that, going all the way down until we don't have any more stitches left. And then do a chain up of 1 and cut. But if you guys are working down this way, stay down here because we're going to do our cuff next. Now that we have seamed our sleeve, we're now going to work on our cuff. So taking our 5mm hook, we're going to insert our hook into any one of these stitches. Insert our yarn onto our hook, pull through, and do a chain up of 1. And then from here, we're going to be putting 1 single crochet into every side row. So let's do the first few. This is my first side row, which is a half double crochet. I'm going to insert my hook into there with 1 single crochet. My next side row is this side single crochet row, so find that top loop, single crochet, and let's do 1 more set. So this is my next side row, which is a side half double crochet. Find that loop, single crochet, and then my next side row is the side single crochet, so insert your hook and single crochet. Continue to put 1 single crochet into every side row. Once we don't have any more stitches left to go into, slip stitch into that chain up of 1 space. Now that we've done our first single crochet row, we're now going to make a chain the length that we want our cuff to be. I want mine to be about 2 inches or 5 centimeters, so I'm going to make a chain of 8. Now that I have my chain, I'm going to block off my last chain, do a chain up of 1. Into that chain that I blocked off, or the second chain from my hook, I'm going to insert with a slip stitch. So insert yarn over, and pull through both loops on our hook. Let's do this again. Into the next chain, insert, yarn over, pull through everything. Put one slip stitch into every chain. Now that we've slip stitched into every chain, slip stitch into the next stitch into the base to close off our first row. So into that next stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, and pull through everything. Now that we have that, we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch into the base to work our way up to the next row. So insert, yarn over, pull through everything, and flip our work. And just like for our collar, we're going to be putting one back loop slip stitch into every stitch. So insert your hook into that next stitch, yarn over, pull through everything. Insert your hook into that next back loop, yarn over, and pull through everything. Put one back loop slip stitch into every stitch. When we get to the end, do a chain up of one, flip your work, and then put one back loop slip stitch into every stitch, connecting it into the base the same way that we just did. And then I'll meet you guys back when we don't have any more stitches left to go into so that we can seam it together. So I've just made my way all the way around with my slip stitch rows for my cuff. I don't have any more stitches left, so we're going to seam our cuff. This seam is going to be the same seam that we did for the collar, so let's do the first few. From where we're at, we're going to be inserting our hook into the first available stitches front loop, insert your hook, and then into the back panel, into the first available stitches back loop. From here, we should have 3 loops on our hook, so we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Let's do the next one too. Insert your hook into the next available stitches front loop, and then into the next available stitch into the back panel, insert your hook into that back loop. Yarn over and pull through everything on your hook. Continue to do outside loop slip stitches until we don't have any more stitches left, and then do a chain up of 1 and cut. From here, repeat the same thing that we did for the sleeve and the cuff on the other side. Alright, so now that I've just finished going in with both of my sleeves, we're now going to go in with the bottom band. So just like the sleeve, using my 5mm hook, I'm going to insert my hook into any one of these side rows. Insert my yarn onto my hook, pull through, do a chain up of 1, and then we're going to put 1 single crochet into every side row. So let's do the first one together. This is my first side row right here. This is a side half double crochet. So I'm going to insert my hook with 1 single crochet. My next side row is this side single crochet. So find that top loop, single crochet. Let's do another set. This is my next side row, which is a half double. Find that top loop, single crochet, and then my next side single crochet row, insert my hook, and single crochet. Keep putting 1 single crochet into every side row until we don't have any more side rows to go into. Do a slip stitch into that chain up of 1 space, and I'll meet you guys back. Now that we single crocheted along the entirety of the bottom of our piece, we're now going to make a band, and my band is going to be the same height as my cuff. So that's going to be about 2 inches for 5 centimeters or a chain of 8. Once when I have my chain, I'm going to block off my last chain, do a chain up of 1. Into that chain that we blocked off, or the second chain from our hook, we're going to go in with a slip stitch. Let's do the next one. Insert your hook into that next chain, yarn over, pull through everything. Put 1 slip stitch into every chain. Now that we have slip stitched into every chain, we're now going to slip stitch it into the base, which is the same way that we did our cuff. So insert your hook into that next stitch into the base, yarn over, pull through everything, and that's how we close off our first row. Let's get started on our next row. So just like before, slip stitch into that next stitch, flip our work, and then put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. When we reach the end, do a chain up of 1, flip your work, and then put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch, and then we're going to connect it into the base the same way that we just did. We're going to keep doing that, making our way all the way around until we don't have any more stitches left, and then I'll meet you guys back. So I've just made my way all the way around doing my back loop slip stitches, and I don't have any more stitches left to go into. So now we're going to seam this up the same way that we just did the cuff and our collar. So let's just do the first one together. Once we are here, we're going to be inserting our hook into the first available stitches, front loop, and then into our back panel's back loop, we're going to insert our hook. From here, we're going to yarn over and pull through everything on our hook. And that's it. We're going to keep doing this, going all the way down. When we don't have any more stitches left, do a chain up of 1 and cut. All right, we have just finished seaming our bottom band and we are all finished. The last thing we're going to have to do is weave in all of our ends. Our ends are woven in and our super duper cozy sweater is all finished. I loved creating this piece for you guys. This type of collar is my favorite to make at the moment, and I especially love it in this chunkier looking yarn. I'm really excited to share this with you guys, so let me know in the comments below if you're going to make this anytime soon. There is a written pattern down below. Use offer code TCDDIY for a discount off any $9.99 plus order, and enter this week's pattern giveaway by telling us the last time you were really excited. Good to everyone who enters. Also, if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up because it really helps. And be sure to share us on Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and Facebook. Those links are down below. Link to our Etsy page is down there too if you want to buy this piece or any other piece on the channel. And be sure to favorite the shop so you don't miss out on new patterns and exclusive deals. And as always, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next one.